Hey friends, have you ever heard of a country where women can choose as many lovers as they want without limits, and same-sex relationships are embraced? A place where tribes paint their bodies with forest ink, and some islands won't even let you set foot on shore without permission? Where drones are forbidden by tribal law? Where you enter the lush green hell of the Darién Gap? A place where dreams vanish and gangs put a price on survival? This is Panama, sacred, wild, seductive. In these almost unexplored landscapes, some of the oldest and most mysterious tribes on the planet still live, isolated from the outside world. These are the Emberá and Wunan people. They live in palm-thatched homes along riverbanks. They travel by carved canoe. Their bodies are painted with natural dyes. Their knowledge of the forest runs deeper than science. And their way of life? It flips modern assumptions on their head. In Emberá villages, it's often the women who choose their partners, and not just one partner. Sometimes two, sometimes more. Polygamy is practiced openly. Same-sex intimacy? Not criminalized, not stigmatized. It's just part of life. In some tribes, like the Emberá, exploration of intimate relationships between women or between men is part of the tradition, a natural expression of intimacy. In a world where even city life still wrestles with judgment, these rainforests host communities that quietly honor freedom, intimate, spiritual, and social. With isolation comes sacrifice. Some Emberá and Wunan communities have no clinics, no clean water. Children walk miles for basic schooling. And while travelers show up wide-eyed, marveling at authenticity, some locals quietly dream of roads, teachers, or medicine. It's beautiful, and it's brutal. And that complexity, that's what makes it real. If you've ever looked at a map of the Pan American Highway, the road that stretches from Alaska to Argentina, you'll notice something strange. A blank space between Yavisa, Panama, and Turbo, Colombia. It's called the Darién. This jungle labyrinth is an extreme challenge for those daring enough to cross it. Many never reach their destination. The Darién Gap is roughly 100 miles of swampland, mountains, rivers, and dense jungle. No roads, no marked trails, no second chances. It's a place so wild and unpredictable that even satellites struggle to fully map it. Tourists whisper about it in hostels. Bloggers try to make it sound romantic. A few companies even offer Darién experiences. But ask any Panamanian, especially those living near the border, and they'll tell you one thing, flat out: don't go. Because this isn't a hike. It's not an adventure movie, and for tens of thousands of migrants, it's also the only way north. Every year, people from Venezuela, Haiti, Bangladesh, Cameroon, yes, even far corners of Asia and Africa, attempt the crossing. Because they're chasing a dream, the promise of a better life in the United States. But the jungle doesn't care about dreams. Here, there are no rescue teams, no cell signal, no laws. Rainstorms that turn trails into quicksand, and cartels who control key paths, charging tolls you don't want to refuse. For expats, the Darién is a red zone. Insurance won't cover you here. Embassies can't rescue you. Even seasoned Panamanians avoid it. You've heard of the Panama Canal, but do you really know what makes it a global power lever? The answer will surprise you. But before that, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to own a treasure trove of our most attractive information. 50 miles, that's all. That's the distance from coast to coast across this narrow Central American isthmus. But what those 50 miles accomplished changed history. Before the canal, ships had to sail all the way around South America, around Cape Horn. That added thousands of miles, weeks, sometimes months. Now, instead of a journey of thousands of miles, ships can now cross Panama in just a few hours. Here's how it works. Massive locks, steel gates the size of skyscrapers, lift and lower vessels through a series of water chambers. Gatun Lake, an enormous man-made reservoir, provides the water supply. It floods the locks, raising ships like floating elevators, from one ocean to another. And it was built at a staggering cost. The French tried to build it first in the late 1800s. They failed. Tropical disease and poor engineering affect over 20,000 workers. The jungle won. Then, in 1904, the United States took over. They brought money, machines, and American ambition. 10 years later, after draining swamps, blasting rock, and carving through mountains, the canal opened. And with it came control. For much of the 20th century, the canal zone wasn't really Panama. It was a U.S.-governed zone, a slice of America in the tropics. Schools, neighborhoods, security forces, all controlled from Washington. To many Panamanians, the canal is both a symbol of national pride and historical resentment. Yes, it brought jobs, infrastructure, global recognition. But it also reminded people that their country's greatest treasure wasn't truly theirs for a long time. Only in 1999, after decades of negotiation and political pressure, did full control return to Panama. Today, it's Panamanian-operated, and for many, that feels like justice. Still, the debate simmers. Some see the canal as Panama's miracle, a gift to the world and a source of strength. Others see it as the beginning of foreign influence and foreign interference. Stand by the Miraflores locks and you'll watch vessels the size of buildings glide past you, silent, slow, majestic. It's mesmerizing. You realize in that moment that the world's goods, its power, its pace, depends on this one slender ribbon of water. And here's the twist. Panama, the country holding that power, has no military, no standing army to protect it. Just diplomacy, international treaties, and a whole lot of trust. Have you ever had the chance to pass through this famous canal? If you have, comment 8 and share your experience with us in the comments below. We're chasing the sun. Where else can you see it rise in one ocean and set in another? In Panama, you can see the sunrise over the Pacific and the sunset over the Atlantic Ocean. This tiny country is a bridge between continents, between oceans, and between worlds. Drive from Panama City on the southern coast, cross the country's mountainous spine, and within a few hours, you're on the Caribbean side. And in between? You pass through microclimates that feel like separate countries. Hot, sticky coastlines where fish fry on roadside grills, lush rainforests where toucans glide between branches, and misty, spring-cool highlands where Panama's best coffee grows in volcanic soil. You'll find digital nomads in co-working cafes sitting just blocks from indigenous communities who still live by ancestral law. Beach clubs pumping reggaeton, tribal elders holding traditional ceremonies by candlelight. Panama is in contrast. It's where wealthy expats live in penthouses with rooftop pools, and just miles away, rural families grow cassava by hand. It's boutique eco-lodges and corrugated metal shacks, imported sushi and boiled plantains. One for those with global mobility, visas, dollars, passports. One for those born here, building life day by day. Some foreigners come and only see the tropical version of Miami, shiny condos, English-speaking Uber drivers, affordable healthcare. Because if you're thinking of living here, you need to understand both. Yes, you can live better here. You can wake up in the mountains, work online for a U.S. client, then swim in the Caribbean by sunset. But that lifestyle sits on top of a much older, more complex foundation. We're peeling back even more of Panama's layers. Not the beaches or jungles, but the strange facts, contradictions, and curiosities that make this country one of the world's best-kept secrets. No army, 2 currencies, more women than men. Welcome to Panama. Despite its global strategic importance, Panama does not have an army. No tanks, no fighter jets, no draft. It abolished its army in 1990 after decades of dictatorship and U.S. invasion. The idea was simple. If the military caused the problem, maybe getting rid of it could be the solution. Instead, the national police keep order. They handle security, drug enforcement, border control, even riot response. And you'd think, with one of the world's most strategic trade routes cutting right through it, the Panama Canal, this would be risky. But oddly, it works, and better than expected. Without a standing army, Panama spends more on education and infrastructure than its neighbors. And in a region where coups aren't exactly rare, the absence of a military has arguably kept things more stable than not. Still, Panama isn't defenseless. It leans heavily on diplomacy, international agreements, and the quiet assumption that the world needs the canal too much to let it fall. Now let's talk about money. The Balboa circulates alongside the American dollar at a 1-to-1 parity. Panama uses US dollars for almost everything. You'll pay for your coffee, rent, and groceries in crisp greenbacks. But occasionally, you'll get change back in Panamanian coins, the Balboa. You can stay in Panama for up to 180 days visa-free. That's 6 months to test the waters. But if you're thinking long-term, consider the Friendly Nations visa. It was designed for citizens from countries with close ties to Panama, like the US, Canada, and much of Europe. In Panama, there are more women than men. In cities like Panama City or David, local women are often highly educated, working, and fluent in multiple languages. They're proud, independent, and culturally open, especially in cosmopolitan areas where tourism and trade have brought the world to their doorstep. Many foreign men have found that dating in Panama can feel refreshingly different than back home. Relationships here tend to unfold slower. There's often more formality and family involvement. At the same time, there's also a cultural ease. We're diving into what really makes the people of Panama shine, the blend of cultures, identities, and stories that walk the streets every day. This is a country born of crossroads, geographically, historically, and culturally. Indigenous roots run deep, especially in the Guna, Embera, and Gebe Bugle communities. African heritage is proudly visible in music, dance, and spirituality, especially in the Caribbean regions. European influence came with the Spanish colonizers, and in the 19th and 20th centuries, waves of Chinese, Indian, and Caribbean workers arrived to help build the Panama Canal. Many stayed. You'll see it in the faces walking the streets: sharp cheekbones from the highlands, Afro-Caribbean curls, Chinese shopkeepers speaking perfect Spanish, children with mixed features that defy categories. Panama has quietly become one of Latin America's best-kept secrets when it comes to natural beauty. Panamanian women have won prestigious contests, such as Miss Panama Magnetic Presence. Panamanian women tend to carry themselves with pride. Many are educated, multilingual, and very much in charge of their own lives. Family is important. Culture matters. So does etiquette. In fact, what might catch you off guard is how traditionally feminine the vibe can be, without sacrificing strength. And it's true, some women are open to dating foreigners, especially in cities like Panama City or David, where international culture blends naturally with local life. How much does it really cost to live here? Let's break it down, honestly. In Panama City, a decent one-bedroom apartment in a secure neighborhood might run you around $700 a month. Add more if you want ocean views, rooftop pools, or expat neighborhoods like El Cangrejo or San Francisco. Want to be closer to the beach? In spots like Coronado or Bocas del Toro, you could find a furnished beachfront villa for $1,000 or more, sometimes less if you go rural, but expect to trade convenience for solitude. Panama has two systems, public and private. The public clinics are super affordable, sometimes just a few bucks per visit. But they're basic, expect long waits and Spanish-only service. Private care is modern and high quality, especially in Panama City and David. Private insurance runs around $80 to $150 per month, depending on age and coverage. Many doctors are trained in the US or Europe. A routine checkup might cost $30 to $50 without insurance. If you're staying in Panama City, you'll love the metro system. Clean, air-conditioned, and shockingly efficient. A metro ride, just 35 cents. Buses are everywhere, loud, colorful, and cheap. For longer distances, intercity buses connect you across the country. Think $15 to $25 to go coast to coast. In the islands, water taxis are the norm. They're fast, fun, and usually cost just a few bucks, depending on distance. Driving? Possible, but chaotic. Traffic in the city is no joke. Road conditions vary outside of urban zones. Rent a car only when you need it. Daily rates can be $30 to $60, but gas and tolls add up fast. A solid meal at a local restaurant, called a fonda, will run you $5 to $7. Dinner at a mid-range spot with wine, $15 to $20 per person. And beer? A cold local Balboa costs around $2 to $3, depending on where you're drinking it. Groceries are fair, especially local produce. Imported stuff, like your favorite almond milk or U.S. snacks, will cost more, so shop like a local when you can. Panama is generally safe and stable, especially compared to some neighbors. Violent crime is rare in tourist areas. Petty theft, like in most cities, can happen, especially if you're careless with bags or phones. Cologne City, not to be confused with Cologne Province, has higher crime and fewer tourists. Some rougher urban zones in Panama City are best avoided after dark. But overall, most expats feel safe here with basic street smarts. In tourist zones and the capital, you'll hear English, especially among service staff, younger locals, and professionals. So you want paradise? You'll find it off the northern Caribbean coast of Panama, scattered like emeralds across the sea. This is San Blas, and this, further west, is Bocas del Toro. The beauty of San Blas is indescribable, with white sandy beaches, turquoise waters, and palm trees gently swaying in the tropical breeze. San Blas will ruin you for other beaches. The water is so clear it seems filtered by magic. The air smells like salt and mango leaves, and the sound? Just wind in the palms. But paradise demands effort. To get here, you'll bounce for hours down rough jungle roads in a 4x4. Then, at a river port where the signal dies and the prices jump, you board a local boat, a wooden lancha, and cross into another world. The Kuna people, who've governed these islands for centuries, protect them fiercely. There are rules here. You can't just waltz onto any beach. Some islands don't allow alcohol. Others require you to ask permission from the elder before setting foot. And if you think you can fly a drone without asking, think again. It's preservation. The Kuna live here. They want their future generations to live here too. Still, once you're in, really in, it's unforgettable. You sleep in thatched huts built right above the water. No AC, no Wi-Fi, just waves beneath your feet and stars overhead. And in Bocas del Toro, these islands were once banana export hubs. Over time, they became a melting pot of Afro-Caribbean, indigenous, and Latin cultures. Today, there's something else entirely. Music pours from every house. Painted buildings sit on stilts above the sea. Taxi boats zip between the islets like watery tuk-tuks. And below the surface, coral gardens, neon fish, and tiny electric blue dart frogs. In the back streets and behind closed doors, old rituals still echo. Here, Afro-Caribbean spirituality fuses with Catholic symbols. In certain rituals, emotional energy can be used in ceremonies of attraction, protection, or love binding. They dance around candles. They chant to the beat of ancestral drums. Tourists might come for surfing and snorkeling, but locals carry traditions older than the country itself. Want to open a bank account? Expect multiple visits, paperwork in triplicate, and a smile that says mañana. Even simple processes like getting a phone plan, applying for residency, or paying a utility bill can feel like a full-time job. Corruption isn't fiction. From traffic cops looking for tips to public offices that mysteriously require a facilitator, Panama has a shadow layer of informal transactions. You don't need to be afraid, but you do need to be aware. Hire professionals with good reputations. From May to November, the skies open almost daily. Heavy, biblical-style rain. sometimes for hours, sometimes flash floods. The upside? Everything turns lush and green. The downside? Travel delays, swampy roads, and days that feel stuck indoors. If you're the kind of person who needs constant sunshine, plan around it, or aim for the dry season, December to April. Local salaries are not what you're used to. The average monthly income in Panama hovers between $500 and $700. Even skilled workers like teachers or technicians may earn less than $1,000 per month. That's why many expats live well here, because they're not on local wages. This is maybe the most important truth of all. There's the Panama you'll live in, cafes, hiking trails, farmers markets, island hopping, and then there's the Panama that most Panamanians live in, tight budgets, slow systems, family obligations, and dreams that don't always come true. We've uncovered 9 fascinating facts about Panama. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to support us by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel so you won't miss out on our upcoming exciting videos. Your support helps us keep creating better content. Be sure to check out the next video that's showing up on the screen. I'm sure you're going to love it. And don't forget to leave a comment about which country you'd like us to explore next. We're so glad you're here today. Please leave a comment, like the video to support us, and subscribe for more videos. See you soon!